Hello and welcome to another edition of the Formula One Fans UK podcast. I'm Reece and I'm joined today by the two members of the team who have a clean internet history.
Yeah, sure.
I wouldn't go that far,
Cleanish.
but I haven't got my parents checking it for me, so I'm good.
Yeah, it's Reece here with Dan and Danny. We've decided to jump ahead a little bit in the schedule because we had what was supposed to be, well, according to some people, the best day in motorsports.
2 out of
two
3
of
ain't
us,
bad.
three of us watched Monaco. 2.5 of us watched IndyCar, and then 1.5 of us watched NASCAR. Fair to say,
It was a long day.
It was a long day for those who could be bothered to stay out for NASCAR. For the rest of us, early night, and I didn't regret it at all, to be honest, because I'm not really a NASCAR fan. Anyway,
Utter silence.
pissed off these two by saying I don't like NASCAR. Love it. As Danny flashes his Corvette shirt. What we do all like is Formula One, and Monaco, thanks to it descending into chaos, was watchable.
Most definitely watchable.
Danny, thoughts on Monaco?
It was an interesting race. You had the wet weather that put a change into everyone's plans, and then you had the drama in the beginning with the race director not starting the race in time, a supposed power outage that hasn't been really addressed at all. We did get to see a good race. Perez came from third and won the race, and so that was great to see. There was some drama at Ferrari, busted strategy call. It's just I guess normal for them. And we see Alonso
is back.
Ferrari's and Alonso holding back. Alonso proving to everybody that Monaco track is shit. And that's plain and simple. So yeah, those are my views.
The Monaco track is shit if you're racing against someone who can defend. If you're against Esteban Ocon, then all you have to do is put yourself alongside him a couple of times, wait for him to drive you into a wall, and you get a time penalty that will allow you past him.
Yeah, that was rough. That was a rough penalty. I think the penalty happened. I know there's a popular image being shown around where the crash happened. It didn't happen in an apex. It happened, I think, on a straight. I think the straight after Anthony Nose or on that Rascas. And, Monaco is very tight in here. We know how tight Monaco is. And it's a bit unfair, a bit harsh for Ocon. I felt that he did a pretty good job defending Lewis there throughout the race, the early part of the race.
I mean, like you say, I think if they all say it's harsh or whatever, or he says it's harsh, but if you crash into someone on a straight who's trying to overtake you, you're due a penalty.
Oh, yeah, most definitely.
Only if you're from a certain team at that particular point do these penalties apply, apparently. Also, it takes about 3 to 5 business days to make a decision of a penalty as well.
Yeah. We did have a red flag, and they somehow managed to announce this after the red flag.
Yeah, like they had a red flag. Someone ordered in some like Nando's. They had a little think about it, and then they decided that this was going to be the penalty that they put out after that. I don't know. Maybe the power went out on their decision-making equipment. Who knows? Because they don't tell us. They just let us and the whole entire Sky team just chat shit about them until we figure out exactly what it was that happened.
I don't know how this is going to improve racing or improve the direction of the race, but I really don't find it very useful, the letting the drivers decide for themselves if somebody has gone off track or somebody has gained an advantage. If you're the driver in the front and you make a mistake and then you let the driver behind stay behind you the whole time, you're subject to a penalty. And in the past, I felt like having that clear direction, even though these are Formula One stewards and Formula One race directors that haven't been so good in the past couple of years, I think we just need that energy back, that direction back.
Well, yeah, I think letting them decide for themselves doesn't work, because there were times where I think it was Joe just straight up cut the chicane, backed off and thought, yeah, that will do, when really he should have given up the place. But to be honest, I think that's not the issue. I mean, there were many issues that were raised in Monaco. I think we all realise that the cost cap is going to affect teams in one way or another, whether it's Red Bull and the weapons race for the title, which they claim is around other teams not being able to finish the season or complete all the races. I think the only team that might be in trouble with that is Haas, because Schumacher had another big one.
Yeah, right. I have a question about this. It didn't look like a really fast impact, but it tore the ass off of that Haas. Is that... I'm just spitballing, right? But the car's not meant to brake like that, right? No?
Well, the thing is now, since the Grosjean incident, the rear of the car or the gearbox is supposed to detach easier. That being said, without seeing what the G-forces were of the accident, it's hard to really tell, because you're right, it wasn't as hard a hit as the one in Jeddah, where everyone expected the car to rip in half, because that was one heck of an impact. This one, Mick Schumacher said himself, he was 10 centimetres offline. That caused the car to go into a spin, and it spun through one of the more G-force creating sections of track. There's no way of saying you probably get the most G's at Monaco going through that whole swimming pool section. But yeah, it didn't. I mean, granted, this is the problem with Formula One. They love to show us a slow motion replay, but what really helps you get a grasp of things is seeing something happen at full speed.
Yeah, it looked very. It didn't look as violent as what the car would, make you believe if you'd come back like, oh crap, what's this happening? This looks really aggressive.
Well, that was it. We saw the accident. I mean, and a few drivers were saying they were worried about Mick because the car had been ripped in half. I mean, there was one replay that was shown at full speed, and that was from the harbour side. And it did look like he went into the wall fast, but I mean, everything looks fast in a Formula One car, really, unless Nicholas Latifi's driving it.
Even his Rex, he crashed this race.
Yeah.
So Latifi, yeah.
Does it count as crashing in the race? Because
no, but whoever had that in the
it was the formation lap, was it not?
There you go.
Yeah, but who hasn't got that in the
counts.
Formula One bingo card? That would be my top pick.
Free space.
It shouldn't even be on there. Will there be a safety car? Will there be a red flag? It should be, will Latifi crash? Yes or no?
Yeah.
Will it be Latifi who brings out the safety car?
I think we need to add Schumacher to that list. We need to add Mick to that list.
That's it. It's your 50-50. It's like flipping a coin. Who's going to bring out the safety car? Is it going to be Mick or is it going to be Latifi?
I think what we were seeing with Mick this year, it's a rough year, and he has a really good driver, really good teammate in Kevin, and he's not performing. He hasn't scored points, and the Haas team keeps throwing points away.
Well, he's sort of been warned now, but hasn't he, by Gunter?
Yeah.
Because these crashes, they're adding up, and I mean, the last time he ripped a car in half, it cost the team $1 million. If you think that's going to happen again, I can't remember what the cost cap is for this year, but I tell you what, you don't be losing even 1% of your cost cap to damage.
I feel like you don't need to have Latifi in a car. I think maybe like another option. But also, right, did you see Kevin's face when he saw the screen? And he'd gone off as well when he was just walking back. It's like, shit, not even one of us is going to make it. Both out. Great. Yeah. Call the misses. It's going to be a late one.
That's it with Haas at the moment, isn't it? It's either all brilliant or all rubbish. There is no in between.
There's just no consistency in between, and no consistency at the top either. They'll have some moments of brilliance, but most of the consistency is in bad luck, bad decisions, or just sloppy building of their cars. It's just that's Haas.
This is it. I mean, even when you go back as far as Australia a few years ago, when Gunther Steiner said we were looking like rock stars, and now we look like wankers. That is the genuine feeling of Haas just constantly now. It's one race rock stars, the next race wankers.
They're probably going to end up brought out in the next year or two, to be fair.
No, because I think Andretti's teaming up with Porsche, aren't they, as new entry?
Yeah, but there's other options.
I mean, if we had a 24-car grid again, there'd be some serious concerns if you're a certain team, because you've got to improve. And I'm looking at Williams because it seems like if there's a chance of longing it out for strategy, they could do it at most races. But Monaco, it really does show up if you've got a bad car in Monaco, because it's such a twisty, intricate circuit. And if your car can't handle that, then you're going to struggle. And it really, I think it's one of those that just flags up the issues in cars.
Would he have got a chance to hold people up from the front if he wasn't at the back? I think it's one of his favourite games.
You could tell he's on the Red Bull payroll, can't you, Alex Albon?
Exactly, yeah. The red flags? Sorry. All I see is purple. I don't see any blue or red.
He got away with it, didn't he?
Yeah,
there's multiple blue flags.
Of course he
multiple
did.
blue flags.
Of course he did.
I mean, let's face it, we could say all this, but the biggest impeding was Zhou on Sainz. He lets Perez through, and then Sainz gets caught up behind him for up the hill, pretty much. And I mean, you lose so much time.
That's a problem with Monaco. A lot of traffic there.
And what was his penalty for that? Again, remind me.
Didn't.
Shocker. No, not another penalty. It was literally a day of let's just penalise Alpine because we don't like the French. That's literally what it's like, because the Williams didn't get done. Zhou didn't get done. We had the Red Bulls, which clearly crossed the line. Or are we calling oversteer? Or
no, let's just say it wasn't Red Bulls. First of all, when it said Perez noted, I'm pretty sure that was a mistake, because we've all seen now the fan footage of Perez exiting the pit lane, and he does not cross the yellow line. He maybe brushes the corner of it. Max crossed it. It was so obvious. You see it from Checo's.
100%. Chris, if you're listening, you need glasses. He needs glasses. It was a clear cross. No, it's not a bit much. If Chris doesn't like it, he can get on a podcast and defend himself for once.
Yeah, but you're right. The people don't get punished for. It felt like it was just a case of punish Alpine. Whilst Ocon sort of deserved his penalty, it was a case of, well, if you're going to punish Ocon, you've got to punish half the grid.
But they didn't.
They didn't have to. They had Alonso. What's that?
They had Alonso holding everybody up.
Yeah, Alonso penalized everybody. At first, I thought it was, Norris has legitimate pace, but no, Alonso was 4 seconds slower a lap on purpose. He claims to have saved his tires for the first 15 laps.
I mean, he did save his tires, though, because he did completely drop Lewis Hamilton.
Yeah. But I think at that point, if you listen to the radio, Lewis's radio at that time, he was told, there's an Alpine behind you with a 5-second penalty. Lewis was going to back him up. At the end, it didn't matter. Lewis isn't going to make a spot, but he was going to screw Alpine for that, though.
I wonder if the whole purpose of what they were doing was to try and get Ocon past Hamilton to then overtake Alonso.
So yeah, that's what I thought too, but there's just no way that Ocon was going to pass Hamilton.
He would have had to pass Hamilton, then pass Alonso, and then get 5 seconds up the road. Not really doable, is it?
No, because Alonso would have backed off and given him the gap.
See, I want to have another discussion on people that back off and give each other the gap.
Okay, here's a question. Should Alonso be penalized for that? For driving
he didn't do anything.
4 seconds a lap slower.
Well, maybe we can touch on this later. We'll touch on that later. Because...
well, because I know most of Twitter right now is up in arms about that.
Well, that's the problem with Monaco. It is just not suitable for modern F1 because it's too narrow and the cars are too big. Although I think Alonso made a good point about saying the size of the cars and the weight of the cars, that makes these crashes a lot worse because you are effectively chucking something now that's 800 kilos into a barrier rather than something that was a lot lighter in the past.
Yeah.
But shall we move on to the sharp end of the grid? Because Sergio Perez is a legitimate title contender. He had shocking luck in Saudi Arabia. He was shafted by his own team in Spain. And when it came to a race where it's all about the driver and not about the car in the sense of, hey, it was a wet race, he, was the best one out there. I mean, the whole weekend he was better than Verstappen. There's no hate or bias in that. He was better than Verstappen all weekend. And he found his way into everyone's hearts when he also managed to bring out a red flag at the end of qualifying.
It was Max thought it might have been. There's talk on the radio that they're saying Max thinks it was intentional, but obviously that wasn't his direction of the conversation we're having. But it's not a bad strategy.
Wait, I have a theory, right? Nico Rosberg was there at the Monaco Grand Prix, and what was Nico Rosberg's little trick into turn 1?
Well, it wasn't into turn 1; it was down to Mirabeau.
Turn 5, yellow, turn 5.
No, he went into.
No, turn 1, Mirabeau. Turn 5, yeah. Mirabeau went off down the hill, outbraked himself after taking the wrong line, and then reversed onto the track at the right time for blocking Hamilton.
See, I think he's been getting shady tips.
Well, if you want to beat Verstappen, you need to. I mean, what is the equivalent of cooking burgers outside Hamilton's window to Verstappen? Do you remind him that he's actually Belgian?
I think so. I'll play the Belgian national anthem.
I mean, what can you do to annoy Max Verstappen, other than, race him hard and then not understand that he doesn't like it when it goes the other way, does he, Verstappen? But no, I don't think any driver does.
He's a child that likes it his own way. It is what it is.
Isn't most of the grid though?
I'm pretty sure Alonso doesn't care. Full stop.
I don't know. GP2 engine, GP2.
Alonso's a child.
They are all really.
Yeah.
It's changed. I mean, with the exception of, this is what's happened. With Kimi Räikkönen's retired, I think maybe only Valtteri Bottas is the only one there who's not really petulant. Vettel's all right, to be honest, but he still has his moments. He's changed, but he still has his moments if he gets knocked out in Q1. If he gets knocked out in Q1, Vettel's a different beast to any other time in an F1 weekend. Mick Schumacher as well, but Mick's just ridiculously nice. Do you hear his team radio in the red flag?
Who, Mick's?
Mick's, yeah.
No,
he's laughing away. He's just laughing away in such a Mick Schumacher way that you just can't help but like him. And just going, this is the wettest I've ever been in a Formula car.
Yes, to be fair, I did hear that.
Did hear that? That was during the race.
That was during the red flag.
It's after they red flagged it and they all got out and changed.
It was the first red flag.
Yeah, where they all changed their suits. Yeah.
But anyway, we were saying Perez is a legitimate title contender.
Yes, but he is. But he'd be even more of a legitimate title contender if he wasn't made to move over in previous races.
This is it. Do you know what the points tally would be if he had not been made to move over?
Please tell us, Reece. Do you know?
I do know, because we worked this out immediately after the race, because we were like, well, Perez just got 10 points on Verstappen then. We're thinking, well, how would it be if he had been allowed to get past Verstappen, easily overtook Russell, been so far down the road that Verstappen would never have got team orders in the last race? And it would have made a very interesting title picture, because Verstappen would still be on top of the championship with 118 points. But after that, Perez would be on 117 and Leclerc would be on 116.
And what's to say that he wasn't able to get a fastest lap if he was pushing for it to get the points, which is to say, he's not going to.
Well, you say that, yeah. I kept the fastest laps when I worked that out, as in whoever had the fastest lap in that race got the fastest lap.
Yeah. Perez got the fastest lap in Spain, didn't he?
He did.
Yeah.
He did, which is why some people were saying, Verstappen would have had the fastest lap in Spain because Perez pitted to get it. But no. No, I mean, there's just as good a chance that wouldn't have been the case.
What if Max got past Sainz? Do you think they would have made him move over? Do you think they would have forced him out?
I think there are two races you can't team order someone to move them out of the way for a race win. And I think that is Monaco and whatever their home Grand Prix is. I think those are the two races you can't do that to a driver. So being Red Bull, they probably would have done.
I just think if Verstappen had made it past Carlos, got up behind Perez, as the points leader, would they have had to make a decision to move him? And let's be honest, Would Perez have moved? Do you think he would have moved?
I don't know. I doubt it. I doubt he would move 2 races in a row. That's my theory.
Yeah, Perez is not. He's been racing since 2010, 2011. He does. I would put him in that generation, the Hamilton Vettel generation. He came in at the tail end. They don't take team orders lightly. Remember 2013 with McLaren, he also got into a lot of teammate battles with Button.
Yeah.
And he carried that along Force India with Nico Hülkenberg, and then his famous one obviously was with famous rivalry was Ocon. So Perez won't give quarters. He will race hard, and teammate or not, I do believe that he is a legit contender for this title.
Absolutely.
100%.
No, he definitely should be a legitimate contender. And now actually having some say in the car, you could say the car actually suits him a little bit better than it suits Verstappen.
I would like to bring up the appalling decision by Ferrari to pit Leclerc and then bring him back in and double stack them.
Yeah, well, I think this is the issue because they didn't want to. It was like they decided, let's bring him in, and they were like, oh no, Sainz is in the pits, we haven't got the gap. And the thing is, Leclerc Verstappen crossing the line or not, regardless of that, if he didn't double stack, the time he lost behind Verstappen, the gap which he lost, he would easily have been ahead if he didn't spend 2 seconds or 3 seconds of them picking up the tyres and finding the right tyre for the stop. And Ferrari, you got to give some credit to Ferrari when they didn't want to double stop. They still reacted quite well. The pit crew, that is, not the strategy. The strategy was a mess. The pit wall was a mess, but the pit crew were exceptional for Ferrari that day.
100%.
Mechanics are, yeah.
Like, to be fair, most teams were exceptional, but you can't tell him not to come in as he's turning into the pit lane. Like, it's ridiculous. Like, in modern F1, with all the tracking, all the data that you have, like, that shouldn't be something that happens. Like, as big a mistake as that.
Well, you say that. There are clearly effects going on with the budget cap. Because, I mean, look at the radars. I mean, not the radars getting it wrong, because no one could have predicted that. But did you hear, I think it was Daniel Ricciardo's team radio, where they said, so we got a bit of a blind spot here, the usual blind spot in Monaco in the mountains. What would teams have done in the past in tracks like Spa and Monaco, where there was a blind spot? They would pay someone to go sit out there. They obviously can't afford to do that anymore. I mean, poor Haas probably won't be able to afford to fly half the team out at this rate. The Haas team to get to Baku are going to have to get a megabus.
Megabus, £1 each. That's good.
£1 from Monaco to Baku.
And they have to carry the supplies with them.
At this rate, Gunter Steiner is going to be putting the remaining budget on the Monaco casino to try and just get the team through the rest of the year.
All on black. That's it. All on black. Let's go.
Yeah.
Well, they've already gambled on red and it didn't work out for them.
Oh.
Little communist joke for you all.
Oh, yeah, so we're allowed to take the mick out of communists, just not people in certain forms of transport.
Well, yeah, of course, but the thing is with communism jokes, they're all equal.
There's the second dad joke. There you go. That's 2. Reece can't help himself. He's cheesing really hard right now.
You say that, you laugh at the dad jokes.
Hey, I can relate. I'm a dad. They're funny. I catch them.
What's my issue then? I don't know. Shall we talk about IndyCar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Because one thing
Who
won? Formula 1 driver. Sorry, Formula 1 driver.
Hold on. Is it a driver 2018 Sauber? Did he drive for 2018 for the Sauber team? Did this guy drive for the 2014 Caterham team?
He did drive for Caterham. He did drive for Sauber. He is most well known for not hitting Romain Grosjean.
Most known for not hitting Romain Grosjean.
He hit me.
It was Marcus Erickson who won.
Grosjean, he went out as well. So
yeah, but we'll get to
it's
that.
an absolute shit show.
I want to talk about that. But yeah, Marcus Erickson won the Indy 500. So I mean, no spoiler. You probably know that. If we say IndyCar, you know who. I think everyone knows in motorsports who won the Indy 500. But like Monaco, which Monaco would have been shocking if there were no shenanigans. I feel like the Indy 500 would be the same if you didn't have drivers crashing in the Indy 500. The race would just be pretty flat and boring.
Yeah, but it's the same as NASCAR. It doesn't get fun until there's a crash and they have to reset. It's just, that's just the way it is. That's why
I wouldn't
so many
call that
laps.
the same as that. I'd say that's oval racing more than anything. You rely on a crash to bunch the field back up, and that is why you bring in all these failed F1 drivers
to crash. 2023.
You just don't expect them to win.
We can have a whole team of Latifi and
Stroll,
Schumacher.
Yeah.
We just put a free
Stroll and Latifi both managed to crash behind the safety car.
Romain Grosjean would be proud.
If these guys are going to be the best thing that Canada can produce.
No, but they're not the best thing Canada can produce. That is syrup and bacon.
No, the syrup is really good though. So yeah, to go off on Canada, yeah, their drivers, Stroll and Latifi are just not good. But Villeneuve is still driving, still making appearances, I think, in NASCAR. So that's good to see.
I think this is the thing, isn't it? It's just Canada, if it's on ice, they're brilliant.
Yeah.
If it's not on ice, not very good. It's true, isn't it?
Sorry, but yeah.
Sorry,
the
Canada.
Canadians just like violence.
Hey, why am I apologising to Canada? If anything, they'll just apologise to me.
Yeah.
No way, we don't have to be sorry, eh?
Jeez. Hey, just to add on Erickson, just to add on him, congratulations to him. Great race. You have one leg of the Triple Crown. That's
absolutely
it. That's
amazing couple of last laps.
Marcus Erickson is as close to the Triple Crown as Fernando Alonso.
Yeah.
He's as close to the Triple Crown.
No.
He is.
Alonso has two. Alonso and Montoya have two.
Oh, yeah, no, Alonso and Montoya have two. I mean, he's as close to the Triple Crown as Max Verstappen, and he'll probably be closer than Max Verstappen can ever get to it, because Verstappen says he won't race in Indy. He's once again said he won't race in IndyCar because why would he race in ovals? Because it's just dangerous.
No, because he can't be himself in an oval.
Driving with
motorsport is dangerous. Driving against Verstappen is dangerous. Yeah. That's a good point. Motorsport is dangerous. Oval racing is even more dangerous. If you put Max Verstappen on an oval, it's Mad Max.
Yeah.
It's Death Race.
In a stock car, yeah.
It's Death Race.
I just want to give a shout out to the Arrow McLaren team that got I think it was like second and fourth or something. They had an amazing race. But
second, fourth, and wherever Montoya was. Which, considering Montoya was a one-time deal, am I right in saying, Danny?
Yeah.
To stay with Erickson, literally down to trying to be on his bumper, swerving like a snake, and Erickson still managed to beat him off. Bearing in mind, this is...
Hang on, what now? Erickson did what now?
He managed to beat him. He managed to beat him by keeping him off him. Amazing racing from
it was. It was brilliant to see all this left, right action and not hear someone screaming on the team radio saying he's moving too many times.
Yeah, that's literally what I was thinking.
It was so refreshing.
F1, it would have been madness.
I tell you what though, Pato Award is now up to second in the IndyCar Drivers' Championship. Yeah, if that's what they call it. Do they call it Drivers' Championship? I assume.
Standings.
Drivers' Standings. Or in Canada, it's the Drivers' Standings, eh? Eh? Sorry? No, hang on, no, that was not Canadian. I've just probably offended a lot of people. But no, are there any Canadians in IndyCar?
Yeah.
Who?
There's several of them.
In IndyCar?
Yeah.
There's a couple of Swedes.
Are you deaf?
There's a Mexican.
Yes. Hold on. Two seconds.
There's a New Zealander.
Dixon. Where's Dixon? New Zealand?
Scott Dixon's New Zealand.
And so is
Canadian.
McLaughlin.
Di Francesco is Canadian.
He's New Zealand.
Di Francesco's Canadian.
Dalton Kellett is Canadian.
Okay. So what you've just done is listed two drivers from Canada who are better than the ones in Formula One.
I don't know. I would say finishing 20th and 27th is not great, but they didn't crash. They finished the
But
race.
they did finish.
They did finish.
They did finish IndyCar, which this is the thing, because I think, first of all, Pato O'Ward is second in the standings there. Daniel Ricciardo is really struggling. O'Ward has been extended by McLaren in the McLaren deal, which I'm starting to feel like these McLaren contracts are more like the Red Bull contracts, which is you will drive one of the 4 Red Bull cars on the grid. Where it feels like now the McLaren contract is you will drive one of our cars in one of these sports. Daniel Ricciardo could get bumped into Formula E at this rate. The McLaren are in Formula E next season. Daniel Ricciardo could get bumped to Formula E for all we know.
McLaren's has joined the Formula E this year, right?
Next year.
First year in Formula.
It's next year. Next year they take over from Mercedes.
2023.
Wow.
Yeah. Which, to be fair, is not a bad team to
inherit. They're doing things right.
Also, you've got to look at why are Mercedes coming out of Formula E when they were one of the biggest startup competitors within the sport.
I have no idea. I mean, if I was pulling out Formula E and your image is trying to be sustainable, you can only think they're focusing more on hydrogen.
It's just them scaling back because they've got to scale back on the cost caps of like everything, and then they're trying to save money. Well,
maybe.
You just don't know.
Maybe they didn't have anybody to run it. Was it Susie Wolf running the team?
I think she runs her own team.
I thought she ran the Mercedes.
I thought she ran another team in Formula E. I don't know. To be honest, this is where we do need Tim, because Tim will watch anything with 4 wheels, whether it sounds like an electric lawnmower or not.
Yeah, he will.
It sounds like my friend's Dyson hairdryer. That's what it sounds like.
It sounds like Steven Gerrard trying to answer a difficult question.
That's a soccer player, right?
No, she is CEO of Venturi Racing in Formula E.
And that's not Mercedes, is it?
That is not Mercedes.
I got something right about Formula E!
We did it, boys.
Yes!
Wrap it up.
Yes!
Reece got a question right.
I got something right about something I know nothing about. This podcast summed up perfectly.
All right, move on from Formula E.
Well, move on from Formula E and back to IndyCar. Colton Herta has been linked heavily with Formula One. I know some people have seen Herta's performance in IndyCar and gone, oh, well, he can't be good enough for Formula One because of the weekend he had. We got to remember Colton Herta completely wrecked that car in the warm-up in the week. So they rebuilt that car. So that car's first laps were as part of his shakedown was the Indy 500.
Yeah, but they hadn't even sealed all the gaps, had they? From building the car, the aero gaps, they hadn't sealed any of it. Colton
Herta's retirement from the Indy 500. It says mechanical when you look at the official standings, but when he was interviewed after the race, he said, "No, we were pulled because we weren't fast enough. We were too slow."
That's the one.
Now, I'm starting to feel this should be a thing in Formula One. I feel if you fall 2 laps down, and I feel that should be you should be pulled from the race if you fall 2 laps behind because you are too slow.
In NASCAR, don't you have to meet a minimum speed?
IndyCar in the Indy 500, you can get pulled for driving too slow, because I think it happened to Alonso, didn't it, once?
I'm pretty sure.
For the second time.
I'm pretty sure IndyCar
yeah.
and NASCAR have the same thing, where if you don't compete at a competitive level, i.e. you're too slow, then you're pulled.
Well, maybe that should be a thing that Formula One experiment with.
Yeah, but then you're just gonna have 4 teams at the back getting pulled because they're shit. You've got to let them compete. If they're paying 20 million to even get in the door to compete.
No, well, this is the thing, because in the past Formula One had teams could fail to qualify. It still has the 107% time.
Yeah, they had. You're right. There was a lot of teams, a lot of drivers. This happened in the late '80s, early '90s. They had an extra qualifying session, and from then, if you didn't qualify, you got sent home. There were some notable exits that I can't seem to remember right now, but you still had a full grid afterwards, and you still had extra cars ready to go, and in case any of these wouldn't fail to start the race. But
yeah, well, even if you crashed in the race, you used to be able to run and get a different car.
The T cars, yeah.
Or take someone else's car. as we proved last week.
Yeah, as we discussed last week, with Fangio. But this is what I don't get. I think in Formula One, if Andretti comes in, if Porsche, VW, or whoever come in, you'd think there's going to be one or two teams going. If it goes up to 24 car grids, there is no way Monaco, with the size of the paddock, can handle a 24 car grid.
How many spare garages are there currently?
Well, it's held 24 in the past, but there is a lot of talk at the moment. Of course, Monaco's contract's up in the air. It pays the least money to be on the calendar. It keeps all of its own sponsorship revenue. Rolex, you see, there's no Rolex adverts. It's all Tag Heuer, because Tag Heuer is the timepiece of the Monaco Grand Prix. Rolex plays an obscene amount of money to Formula One be the official timepiece of Formula One. And then it gets to Monaco, and it's one of the most watched events of the year. All the big names all over the world travel to see it. And Mason Mount. Sorry, Chelsea fans. It's for mate Rob. It's his birthday. Happy birthday, Rob. But this is the thing. If you are Monaco, do you have to start adapting to modern Formula One and say, I am going to cough up a little bit extra money. I am going to find a way of having a better paddock? Because, I mean, the paddock of Monaco for the F2 and F3 is nowhere near the track, I believe.
I can't remember. I watched it, but I didn't see where it was.
It is a way away. It's not as far away as it, or it's not
like south of the track. It's south of the track.
It's not quite what it used to be. Of course, there's a bit more money invested into the junior formulas these days. When Johnny Herbert was racing,
is it still like you still pit from the track? Yeah, to the
no. You are still the paddock and the pits are different. But this is the story I like. It's one Johnny Herbert's. He's pretty much told the story of when he was racing in Formula 3. Of course, there wasn't the money in it in Formula 3 back then. So what they actually used to do was drive their cars on the road early morning to get to the track. So they'd be driving through Monaco at like 6 in the morning to get to the track in their Formula 3 cars, which I think is just awesome. Could you imagine driving a Formula 3 car on the streets, not a street circuit, but on the actual roads
in Monaco,
anywhere, just driving on the road?
Oh, I know. Oh, that'd be fun.
That'd be nuts.
It'd be nuts. I have country roads where I live, and it's just 2-lane highways that snakes its way through, and it's fun.
That's America, isn't it? Everywhere is two-lane highways, snaking all over the place. These beautiful roads, and you're limited to 50 miles an hour.
Well, in Texas, in Austin, you can just if you drive 5 miles away from the track, you have clear roads where you can. Yeah, the speed limit is like 80, which is the highest in the country, but you can go ahead and crank, go deep with that car.
See, I'd say the speed limit in this over here, maximum is 70, but everyone drives at around 85.
Yeah.
More if you're in a rush.
Yeah, more if you're in a rush. Yeah, you got people driving at 85 miles an hour, and boys in Britain seeing someone overtake them at 95, thinking, "Oh, he's in a rush." You're 15 miles an hour with the speed limit yourself. Going, oh, he's going pretty fast, isn't he?
Well, Germany has the Autobahn. You can drive, I guess, as fast as you want, right?
You can.
Yeah, that's more of a how big are your balls versus how fast can your car go. I've driven that with a friend on the way to a Formula One race, and in the Audi particular Audi he was in, when you go over 100 miles an hour, it flashes red, and then if you go faster than that, it flashes a different color. I thought it was a fucking rainbow at one point. I was like, does your car just want you to stop?
Well, also, you're not going to go 100 miles an hour in like a Ford Focus for a prolonged amount of time.
Ford Focus ST, easy money.
Who would drive?
Yeah,
who would
ST,
drive
of course.
Focus?
ST, yeah, you can, but not like.
No, I mean on this podcast team. No,
probably you. Danny's probably got a pickup.
No, I have a Ford Focus.
I drive a van.
Oh, yeah. I actually do have one.
Tim has a Focus. I believe.
Yeah.
And just like Nicholas TV, he crashes at very slow speed.
Yeah.
Hi, Tim.
That's low hanging fruit.
Hi, Tim and Tim's family who are listening, who may still be listening to this podcast after the events of last week. He'll love it.
They love it. They gotta love it. Let's just keep it going. Well, I was going to talk about the Hermano Rodriguez brothers. Who are Mexican. They have a track that's named after them. A lot of mentioned in the commentary. I also mentioned on the Discord server, on the Discord chat, that Perez is the most successful Mexican driver. There is some history to that. The Hermanos Rodriguez were two brothers. Died very, very early in age. One of them died at 21. The other one died at 31. Drove for Ferrari during the 60s. They did a lot of sports car races. They were highly talented, highly skilled. They raced any car in any series. And similar to a lot of the drivers at that time, Jim Clark, who drove in different series, Graham Hill, Sterling Moss, they all drove for different series. I think it kind of it led to their deaths, both of them, by driving in races that really didn't have importance. It's good to see Perez succeeding. He's been a driver who's been in the grid for over 10 years now, and it was great to see him get his first Formula One win in Sakir, and then last year he got his first win with Red Bull, and now he's a legitimate contender like we had talked about earlier. So it's just really, really good for Perez. I know he has a lot of fans here in the States and in Mexico, of course, and in Latin America. And his core fans, who've been his fans from the beginning, and they're excited about this. And this is good for F1 to have yet another driver.
This is the thing.
Challenging.
Hermanos Rodriguez, these are the brothers, right? They are wildly celebrated.
Mm-hmm.
But Sergio Perez, with only his third win, is the most successful Mexican driver in the history of Formula One. And it just makes you wonder. I mean, you live in America, Danny. Is he already at rock star status over there in the Americas?
No, not here in the United States, but definitely in Mexico. And there's been commercials where you see him on TV. Obviously, commercials are backed by Red Bull. You'll see him on there. But no, I wouldn't say he's widely popular, but definitely in Latin America he is. Latin America we haven't had really great drivers in the past 25 years. If you want, Senna, yeah, he's Portuguese, he's Brazilian. And you also have Massa, who's Brazilian, who's a champion for 39 seconds. But we definitely, South America and Latin America just definitely wants a champion up on the represent them one more time.
I think
hopefully it'll be Perez this year.
Okay, Sainz fan, and I was gutted that Sainz didn't win Monaco, and I'm getting a bit fed up of it. A Sainz good race being second place and a Sainz bad race being in the gravel trap at the end of lap 2. It's a roller coaster as a Sainz fan, but I think as a Perez fan, it's probably even more of a roller coaster because you're sitting there watching Sergio Perez, who has been unlucky this season, has been off the pace in other races, and now in the last 2 races, you could argue he's been the best driver out there, with the exception, of course, of I think Leclerc in Spain did look untouchable, but Perez was also phenomenal in Spain. It must be a right roller coaster being a Perez fan because he's been out the job, he's been saved at the last second. He's been team ordered. You've got to be fearing the worst at every second. Mexico, is that Central or North America? How is that classed?
North America.
When Perez wins, it's North America. It's like Andy Murray. Over here, Andy Murray is Scottish unless he wins, and then he's British. Mexico's position in the world changes based on the success of Sergio Perez, is what you're saying.
Yeah. and their national soccer team. But no, they are North American.
I have to admit, my knowledge of North American drivers is very limited. So I think I just have to agree with everything that Danny said, to be fair. I totally agree with what you're saying, Danny. 100%.
Well, we've had several champions.
Yeah, but then you did create an entire driver program to get Scott Speed on the grid.
Well, he's a fall from grace. I think he did sports cars after that, and he's been in some legal trouble, I'm assuming. But yeah, it's not good for Scott Speed.
But you know who it is good for? Our sponsor.
Well, I do
Who's that?
wonder how the link has come there, but as you brought it up, Danny, or Dan even, we might as well bring up the show sponsor, which is Apex Tracks. For all your 3D printed track wall art needs, head to apextraxx.com. That's apextraxx.com. Now, we've rambled on about Monaco. We've rambled on about IndyCar. We tried to talk about NASCAR despite being wildly uneducated. We spoke about Formula E despite being wildly uneducated, but somehow got more right about that. But one thing that we do know something about, well, at least two of us know something about, is biscuits. Yes, now...
Right, this is the topic that I wanted to bring up. I'm glad that you brought it up, because obviously it was discussed in Discord by Nathan, one of the participants within the Discord group, which if you're not in, you need to join. About, the link will be in the bio. Basically, this certain member wanted us to do a whole podcast on biscuits, a whole episode addressed to biscuits. But he hasn't given any particular suggestions about his best biscuit or biscuits that we should include. So I think that we should just give top 5 biscuits for all of us and then discuss. And then Nathan, the participant from Discord, will be very happy.
Well, this is the thing. I had also done some research. This is where my only homework has been done on this podcast. This week, I mean, we throw it together quite quickly.
Now, what do you guys? Hold on.
So,
what are you guys trying to decide? What's the best biscuit?
Yeah.
Well, no,
I am
pretty much. There was a debate on biscuits. Now, what is the best biscuit is pretty simple. I mean, there are a few that are just up there that are just on another level.
Which are
your Fox's cream crunches, your hobnobs, and then just even your Maryland cookie is just
brilliant. What are you going on about with your rich people biscuits?
Well, no, to be honest, I do love a custard cream and a bourbon. I love a bourbon. I like biscuits. There's a problem here. I like biscuits. Cream,
bourbon, cookie, Jammy Dodger. They are the staples of
Jammy
biscuits.
Dodgers.
Do you have Jaffa cakes?
It's a cake.
No, okay, then this is no, don't stop. All right, because I've done some research, and by done some research, I mean what I did was I went through and I pretty much decided to compare each F1 driver to a biscuit. Now, just bear with me 1 second because I have to get my list up here. Okay, so as you mentioned, Jaffa cakes, we might as well start off with Nicholas Latifi. He is a Jaffa cake because he shouldn't even be in discussion as an F1 driver, but he's there. But you have to include him because some people say, "Oh, no, he is. Come on," but he's not.
It's a biscuit-sized cake. Jaffa cake, so I think that's why they make it, because it's biscuit sized.
Yeah, well, that's right, just like this saying Nicholas Latifi is F1 sized.
Oh.
Nico Hulkenberg, Pink Panther wafers, hugely underrated.
Panther wafers,
hugely underrated, but you always forget it exists, and then it just shows up, and you're delighted that it's there.
They are good. I've had those.
Mick Schumacher.
Uh-oh.
Now this is where this is what I say Mick Schumacher. He is the mint chocolate penguin. He's good, but the original was better.
Penguin?
Can you even buy the mint chocolate penguins anymore?
I don't know, to be honest.
The originals were red pack?
And then you had the orange.
Now, this is true. Because... now, this is one that was a difficult one for me, because Zhou Guan Yu. Now, the obvious one would be a fortune cookie, but I'm going to stay away from that. Zhou Guan Yu, for me, is a nice biscuit. I can't figure out what the heck it is. And by that, I mean it's nice niece. Do you call him nice or niece, Dan? Because that is Zhou Guan Yu, because you can't tell what way you're meant to say his fucking name. Zhou Guan Yu is a niece biscuit because you don't know or nice biscuit because you just don't know what way to say his name. Lance Stroll.
I'm excited. Let's go.
Lance Stroll. He is a Viennese swirl. Because there's no way he ends up in the barrel without daddy's money.
Wait, what is he again?
Viennese swirl.
Sebastian Vettel. Custard cream. He's not the best.
Hey, Vietnamese swirls look good.
Daddy is good. Sebastian Vettel was the custard cream. He's old-timey. He's a classic. He's been around for ages and... you just have to like him.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they're good. They're kind of like, they're generic cookie. You're right. They're old-fashioned. They were good when you were like 4 or 5 years old.
Pierre Gasly, the chocolate Oreo. Because with Pierre Gasly, I always think, brilliant. Pierre Gasly, he's run up a surprise. But he always gets these comparisons to someone else. He's always, Gasly's done this, so he's going to take up this person, or he's going to be like this person. But he never quite emulates the original.
And for those who don't know their history, Oreo cookies start off as something else. So
there's been some research into this.
There has been research done to the Oreo cookie.
Everybody that is completely miffed the same as I am, just Google it like I have, and you'll understand.
Well, let's hear what's Max.
Well,
Who's Max?
We're working our way up the driver's standings here.
Okay.
Fernando Alonso. For me, Fernando Alonso is a jammy dodger. Jammy Dodger. It's another classic. It always goes down well. And also,
Danny has to Google Jammy Dodger.
It's also very jammy. And we know how Fernando Alonso loves to create a traffic jam. Ooh, there's the third dad joke.
That's the third or fourth dad joke of the podcast.
Yeah, we have those here. They're good.
Yuki Tsunoda, mini hobnobs. Enough said.
What?
You know, you get little bags of hobnobs.
Yeah.
That's Yuki Tsunoda.
No, hold up. There's the better one.
Is there?
Yeah. Do you know if you look at Yuki, he's adorable, right? He's ruthless, but he's adorable. So I don't know if you guys have heard of the Meiji Hello Panda strawberry cream biscuits.
No.
They're little biscuits that have a little bit of strawberry filling inside. They're tiny. I'll send you guys a picture of them. But they're that'd be him. There's also Poxy sticks, but that wouldn't work with him.
No. What about no? Actually, that might be a cake. What if he was a little tiny macaroon
Dumpling.
Little dumpling.
Daniel Ricciardo. This was a tough one because I didn't want to repeat Biscuits. So for Daniel Ricciardo, I went for the digestive. Just the plain digestive. I'll tell you why. It's a crowd pleaser. It makes everyone happy. But as time's gone on, better things have come along and should replace it. Which is why I'm going to jump up the order quickly to Lando Norris, the chocolate digestive. He's like the digestive. He's funny. He's a good driver. And he's better in every way. He's got a little bit of chocolate. Because he's sweet. I like Lando. But going back now. Kevin Magnussen. Kevin Magnussen is the party ring. You forgot it existed. And all of a sudden one day, it's back. And you're delighted. Because everyone loves a party ring.
I've had to Google all of these. Most of these. Those party rings, we have those here. Yeah. But I just can't believe you guys named the cookie digestive. That to me is like, digestive cookies.
It's not a cookie.
A biscuit.
It's a biscuit.
Yeah.
Up next is Esteban Ocon. This I had to do some thinking about because I was running out of biscuits at this point and I didn't want to use certain ones up.
Le Petit Écolier or Lotus Biscoff. That'd be good for him.
We just give that out with coffees.
Esteban Ocon. Now, I didn't do too much reading. This is the one where I didn't do too much reading into, actually. Esteban Ocon is the French village German biscuit. Now, I'm not too sure, but the whole reason it's around is because it got spread around a lot by a German manufacturer putting it anywhere it could find it.
Oh,
Valtteri Bottas.
Nice.
Macaroon, because you have to love those buns. Lewis Hamilton.
Is it?
The Hobnob.
The Hobnob?
Classic. Brilliant. Gotta love it.
Wow, Reece.
The Hobnob.
I have to disagree with you.
Carlos Sainz. The chocolate finger. I like chocolate fingers, and they're one of my favourites. I don't know why. And that's Carlos Sainz to me. George Russell. Chocolate hobnob. He's like a hobnob, but he's new and he's better. He's better than the original, let's face it. George Russell is absolutely wiping the floor of Lewis Hamilton this season. Now you put them in the same machinery. And as much as I like Hamilton, it's got to be there. Sergio Perez. Bourbon. Sergio Perez. Now, this one was one of those ones, I think it's more of a personal opinion one. But Sergio Perez, he's like a bourbon biscuit. You get to the bottom of the barrel, and he's still there. And you're like, Perez, brilliant. What a nice surprise. And that was Red Bull finding Perez. Number 2, Leclerc. The original Oreo. Everyone likes Leclerc. But he has a tendency to split on you when things are getting a bit heated. And finally, Max Verstappen, the fortune cookie, because he's full of shit.
I like that. Nice mic drop, but I also think that Verstappen should be the broken biscuit bag, because he's all over the fucking place.
Animal crackers.
Animal crackers. That should have been Yuki Tsunoda.
Yeah. Love that.
All right, there was a lot of research into biscuits there. But Nathan, I hope you're happy. I hope you appreciate the effort that I went to, as I wasn't sure how much time I was going to have when Dan messaged us at around 6 o'clock tonight to say his little ones weren't too well. And Dan, we hope your daughter is feeling well. Better.
Thank you. And also, I want to just let Nathan know that this is going to take a lot more time to edit these biscuits in. And I hope that he appreciates it. And throw your next subject in the Discord, my friend. We are on it. We are crowd pleasers occasionally.
We are crowd pleasers. Unless that crowd is Northern Irish and asleep, then we happen to annoy them quite a lot. Dan, should we talk about the Hippodrome?
We can talk about the Hippodrome.
Let's talk about the Hippodrome quickly.
Yeah.
If you're wondering why we're talking about the Hippodrome, it's because the Hippodrome Casino in London, right by Leicester Square, is where we are hosting our first meetup. We are, with the interest that we're having now, we're delighted to say that with the interest we're having, we've spoken to the venue, and looks like we are going to be able to get our own private room with a big screen. We're still working on some extra details as well. We really want to throw some extra bits in, some sort of competition-y bits or whatever. We just need to get permission of the venue. As you can understand, it's a casino, so hosting a competition in a casino might be a little bit tricky, but we're going to try and make it work. But anyway, yeah,
it's worth a go.
It's worth a go. So that is on the 10th of July for the Austrian Grand Prix. So if you're around London, want to travel in the UK, fancy seeing mine and Dan's lovely faces, because we're definitely going to be there. And, we might try and get Danny.
I'm better looking than Reece. If you're coming, I'm better looking. I'm the better looking one. Older, but better looking.
Are you just going for older, better looking friend? Is that the reference you're going for?
That's it. That's what I'm going for. Hopefully, we might have our founding member of Formula 1 UK coming as well. Hopefully,
fingers crossed.
And a lot of the admin will be there as well, and hopefully, a lot of you guys can make it as well.
And if you can't find the Hippodrome Casino, despite the wonderful directions just given you, what we're going to do is we're going to shine a torch at Dan's head, and that way the light will shine up over London.
It's going to be like it's like the bat signal, but a little bit.
It's the bold signal.
A little bit less shiny. But no, but obviously, guys, if you can't find it or you don't know how to find it, jump in a taxi, jump in an Uber, or whatever, rideshare. They'll take you there. It's not very hard to find. So you should be fine.
But until next time, everyone, I think we've covered a lot. There's IndyCar, there's Monaco, there's Biscuits, most importantly Biscuits. I hope, Nathan, you're happy. And be weirdly grateful that Dan's daughter got on well, because otherwise I would not have had the time to have finished that. Joking aside, I'm sure she's going to be fine. I mean, what's the worst thing that could happen, Dan? She's already related to you.
It's a low blow. It's a low blow. I don't feel like we need this abuse at the end.
I'm standing up for Chris. Someone's got to defend him.
Why?
We need to bring him back to the pod.
To defend him?
We've got to wake Chris up.
No, that's right. We made an executive decision. Chris prefers View Cinema, so he can just go there on a Monday.
It's I think that Chris is just on strike until Di Resta comes back, and then Di Resta, he can moan about Di Resta, because that's Chris's strong point. Moaning about Di Resta and his medium tires. Anyway, everyone, if you enjoyed what you listened to, there's a link in the bio of the podcast where you can find all the information on the event, the Discord, and much more. Until next time, thanks to our sponsor Apex Tracks. I'm Reece, and I'm going to say goodbye. And behind of the Chris, I'm going to say cheerio, guys.
Love that. Cheers, guys.
See ya.